Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host with another marvelous video. People say that aging is not the number of years you've lived, but it's actually the strength of survival to rise above all the vicissitudes and obstacles that have been thrown your way. And it's for sure that you've experienced many such obstacles when you're an elderly supervillain. Aging has only made you tougher, stronger, more experienced, and a whole lot more sinister, violent, bloodthirsty, and power-hungry. So my friends, without further aging, today we'll delve into the stories of supervillains who are a menace to their worlds, even in their old age. But before we begin, we have a small request. If you like our content, please subscribe to our channel. It's a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. The man who laughs. As the saying goes about old age, you only have wrinkles where your smile has been. But what if that smile belonged to the deranged sociopath Joker? In the DC comic storyline The Dark Knight Returns, written and drawn by Frank Miller, Batman had retired from crime fighting for 10 years after the death of Jason Todd. Gotham was crime-ridden, and Joker was just another old catatonic patient in Arkham Asylum. But as always, Batman returned. And with that stimulus, the Joker returned too. He shook off the catatonia and started repenting for his sins. He convinced Dr. Walper to let him make a public appearance on the David Endocrine talk show. But in that interview, he killed everyone with his poisonous laughing gas and escaped. He used an escort Elsie to seduce Congressman Nosh with his mind-controlling lipstick and made him commit suicide. He dressed Selina up as Wonder Woman and beat her red and blue and tied her up for Batman to find. Joker then attacked a county fair with bombs and guns, shooting blindly and taking multiple lives while evading the police and Batman. Batman threw a batarang and blinded Joker in one eye. During the fight, Joker stabbed Batman like a savage multiple times, but Batman managed to hit him in the neck and paralyzed him. Disappointed that Batman won't cross the line, Joker twisted his own neck and killed himself, framing Batman as his killer. In the DC Elseworlds story Kingdom Come by Mark Waid and Alex Ross, we see another version of old Joker. This Joker was so vicious that he murdered everyone in the Daily Planet office, including Lois Lane. A heartbroken Superman still got him by the book and sent him for trial. However, he was killed by the superhero Magog. In the Batman Beyond animated movie, Return of the Joker, Joker tortured Robin Tim Drake and instigated him on killing himself. He ensured his return by embedding a genetic microchip behind Tim's ear. When Tim grew up, the genetic coding kicked in and he turned into the original Joker and unleashed mayhem upon Gotham. Neither old age nor death could not hold back this maniac. God save the ones who cross paths with this insane old sociopath. Just pray that you never do.
Son of Bruce Wayne and Talia. How ironic that your company and holdings will fund.
The Demon's Head. A dip in the Lazarus pool a day keeps the old age away. This may not be true for everyone, but for Ra's al Ghul, it surely is. Ra's had declared himself the Demon's Head when he started off his ecological terrorism. He's been chronicled to have lived roughly 500 years. Although his body hasn't aged that much, he has the Lazarus Pit to rejuvenate him whenever old age hits. In the DC animated series Batman Beyond, titled Out of the Past, Ra's body finally gave in from old age and the exploits of the Lazarus Pit. He transferred his consciousness into his daughter Talia's body and convinced an old Bruce to use the Lazarus Pit to rejuvenate himself to prime. Ra's planned to take over Bruce's body, return to Gotham posing as Bruce and Talia's long-lost son, and take over Wayne Enterprises. Bruce got down into the pit, but realized his mistake instantly. But Ra's subdued Bruce. Terry dressed up as Batman and jumped in to rescue Bruce. Ra's Lazarus lair went up in flames in the battle. Terry tried to save him, but he instead focused on saving his Lazarus Pit and his mind transfer equipment. When the surface of the Lazarus Pit was struck by an electric cable, Ra's lair exploded, seemingly killing him. So it shows that time couldn't even mellow down one of Batman's wisest villains to date. He grew more cynical, and his old age was to be blamed, for he wanted to be forever young. The Green Behemoth. Don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry and old. Exposed to radioactive gamma rays during an experimental mishap, Bruce Banner turned into the monster named Hulk when he got angry. But what old age did to him and turned him into is a tale that will scare the living nightmare out of all of you. In the Marvel comic story Old Man Logan, written by Mark Millar, Hulk was a perverted, sadistic, cannibalistic monster. He had no shred of good left in him. He interbred with his cousin Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, and raised a family of Hulks who called themselves the Hulk Gang. The ruthless cannibal gang beat, bullied and extorted and ate other people. They killed off Old Man Logan's entire family. Logan teamed up with Hawkeye to exact revenge on Old Man Hulk. Logan systematically killed off all of Old Man Banner's children. In the final battle with Banner, Logan was beaten and rendered senseless. Banner then turned into Hulk and ate him alive, but Logan regenerated inside Hulk's stomach and slashed his way out, decapitating the cannibal Hulk. Logan then buried his own family and took Hulk's newborn baby Bruce Jr. and raised him. However, Old Man Hulk somehow managed to survive and built an adamantium suit for himself powered by gamma radiation with only his head attached to it. He attacked Logan and Bruce Jr. Bruce Jr. jumped in and ripped Hulk's head from the suit. Logan buried Hulk's head in the desert and planted a tree on it so that the roots penetrate the skull through to his brain. He promised Hulk that he and Bruce Jr. will return to the shades of that tree. So, if you're lost in a desert and find a tree spreading its cool shadow, don't be lured. Stay away from it, for beneath its roots, the cannibal Hulk's head is still alive. The God King of Mischiefs. People say, don't let old age take your mischiefs out of you. But what if it is the god of mischiefs we're talking about? What does old age do to a mischievous god who classifies even his heinous crimes as mere acts of fun? King Loki is such an old version of Marvel's Loki who had completely given in to vengeance. The original Loki perished and was resurrected as a kid without any recollection of his prior villainy as part of an immensely complicated plan to escape the confines of the Asgardian Ragnarok cycle. A third Loki was born after the first Loki murdered the kid version. The third Loki then tried to create a new persona as a fictitious hero. King Loki was the outcome of his efforts. Despite his best efforts, he reverted to being a villain owing to mistrust and rejection by his fellow Asgardians. His sole focus was to inflict pain on Thor. It was King Loki who wiped out humanity and destroyed the world, and was responsible for the destruction of Earth depicted in the King Thor timeline of God of Thunder. He finally lost to his modern-day counterpart, but not before he made clear how dangerous he can be. So kids, stay away from mischievous old gods. They can be quite earth-shattering. The Heart of Ice. Feeling colder as you get older? Well, Mr. Freeze surely ain't. Dr. Victor Freeze tried to save his wife Nora from a deadly disease by keeping her alive in a cryogenic containment. But Wayne Corps CEO Ferris Boyle interrupted, and in the brawl, Freeze was bathed in the cryogenic fluid, turning him into a literal cold-blooded supervillain Mr. Freeze, who used his cryogenic suit to commit a crime and steal from the wealthy. In a battle with Batman, his suit was destroyed. However, his head managed to escape. In DC's Batman Beyond animated series, episode titled Meltdown, he was given a new clone body by scientists Powers and Lake, but the experimental body failed. Freeze's head returned in a more advanced cold suit. He faced Powers and Lake at the Wayne Powers building and trapped them inside ice. Lake was killed in the process. Batman tried to stop Freeze from destroying everything. Powers, calling himself Blight, attacked Freeze with his radioactive powers. The radioactive rays burned through Freeze's containment suit, wounding him mortally. When Blight attacked Batman, Freeze then shot a blast of freeze ray from his gun and forced Powers out of the building into a nearby lake. Batman tried to save the dying Mr. Freeze, but he stopped him by creating a wall of ice and urged Batman to escape. Batman saved himself, but Wayne Powers' building was destroyed and Mr. Freeze was killed. So kids, don't accept ice creams from elderly mad scientists. Next thing is that they frozen you and turned you into an ice popsicle. The Doctor in the Iron Mask. Our masks wither away with age, revealing our true selves to the world. Well, this saying is surely not true for our very own Dr. Victor von Doom, the Latvian politician, monarch, and supreme leader. Scarred by an accident, he covered his actual face with an iron mask and armor. Apart from being one of the greatest scientific minds in the world, he was also a sorcerer whose magic abilities rivaled the Sorcerer Supreme. In the alternate Earth 691 of Marvel Universe, Dr. Doom was amongst the warriors that fought alongside the heroes to save Earth from the attack of Martian masters. He went into hiding after that. While in hiding, he killed Logan and transferred his mind into his adamantium body. Doom now became immortal since his body would never age. He tried to take over the world by controlling the addictive entertainment channel named Reality TV. V. However, the Guardians of the Galaxy stopped him. He teamed up with the mutant Rancor while posing as Logan and tried to take over Earth again. However, Rancor became suspicious and betrayed him and attacked Doom with one of Logan's severed claws. Doom revealed himself to Rancor after she had failed in killing him, telling her how he took over Logan's body. A battle ensued between him and Rancor. Doom lost one of his eyes in the next battle. Despite defeating Rancor, he was forced to abandon his intentions and leave Earth when the Guardians of the Galaxy showed up. So kids, stay away from doctors in masks unless he's treating you from an ailment. The next thing you know is that he's trying to take over the world. The Immortal Savage. That man has reached immortality who is disturbed by nothing material. Well, the saying may be true for others, but surely not an immortal caveman who's never sought anything but power and complete control over the world. Yes, kids, now we feature the villainous Vandal Savage on our list. 25,000 years ago, a meteorite fell to Earth. The night was cold, and it gave warmth, so Vandal Savage stepped up to it and slept beside it while his fellow tribesmen fled from it in terror. It is unknown where the rock originated, but its heat and radiation changed Vandal into an immortal being. He used his time to gain education and power over the ages and took on the name of Vandal Savage. During DC's final Crisis Revelation storyline, Savage had lived for more than 50,000 years. After being pierced by the Spear of Destiny by adherents of the religion of crime, Savage was reincarnated as Cain, the first murderer and sinner. He was out to get revenge on the Spectre for having previously punished him as Cain, but the Question intervened and spoiled his plans. The Spectre chose to brand Savage with the mark of Cain rather than kill him as God had forbidden. Savage later teamed up with Ra's al Ghul and the Outsiders to defeat his own tribesmen and became immortal due to exposure to the same meteorite as Savage. Later, Savage would run across the Huntress and the Question. By threatening to end both of their lives, Savage was able to convince the Question to remove the mark of Cain from him and wear it herself. So kids, however wise and educated a man seems, remember, he can be a power-hungry immortal Neanderthal who wants to take over the world. The symbiote from the stars. Well kids, there is no saying that one can relate to alien symbiotes who use other living beings as parasitic hosts and make them do what they want. Now on our list is the parasitic symbiote named Venom from the planet Clintar. Peter Parker was ultimately responsible for bringing Venom from Clintar to Earth, where he became linked to him as his new host. Venom, however, became resentful of Parker when Parker left Venom due to its malevolence. Venom eventually formed a bond with Eddie Brock, a Daily Bugle employee who felt mistreated by the paper's editor-in-chief J. Jonah Jameson. After the passing of Peter Parker's wife, Mary Jane Watson, Peter retired from being Spider-Man. During the Marvel Comics event Spider-Man Reign, Venom found a man called Waters and helped him win the position of mayor of New York during the next few years while acting as his assistant Edward Sachs. As it became more and more lonely and hungry, it began to reproduce its symbiote thousands of times in order to carry out its future ambitions. Together, they established the harsh yet effective Reign, a brand new police force, and transformed the Sinister Six into the Sinner Six to handle Spider-Man. Spider-Man eventually came back and faced off with Venom. When Venom tried to strangle him, Sandman intervened and sacrificed himself to save Spider-Man. Spider-Man then detonated the entire mayoralty, killing Venom and his copies and ending his symbiotic reign. This Venom version is by far the darkest, relishing in being evil, and has no redeeming characteristics.
Got some business with me. Sorry it took me so long. I had to go get my power suit.
Sadistic billionaire. In general, billionaires turn to philanthropy and dedicate their lives for the betterment of the human race when they get old. But it's not true when that billionaire is hungry for power, control, and total world dominance. Now on our list, we'll feature the bald and ever-beautiful Lex Luthor, the arch-enemy of Superman. In the DC Elseworlds story Kingdom Come, set in Earth 22, the Mankind Liberation Front was a clandestine organization of supervillain leaders that Lex Luthor founded during his self-imposed exile. Lex Luthor used the ongoing meta-human struggle to further his own agenda. Luthor had brainwashed Billy Batson using mind-controlling centipedes that he inserted into Billy through his ears. He sadistically tortured Billy and suggested to him that superheroes were monsters and that his identity as Captain Marvel needed to be tamed. When Superman came back from exile and worked on containing the reckless young Metas, Lex Luthor was plotting how to utilize the rising dissenters' resentment against Superman and the Justice League. Batman was working with Luthor in order to understand his plans with Billy. He ultimately dispatched Billy Batson as Captain Marvel to break apart the Gulag, where the Metas were being held. Captain Marvel eventually sacrificed himself to contain the United Nations nuclear attack to stop the metahumans from going out of control. Luthor was contained by Batman and was reduced to do menial tasks at Wayne Manor, where the wounded were being tended to. This version of Luthor was more manipulative and more sadistic than his main Earth younger counterpart. He posed as an avatar to the human race when he himself had no regards for any life, be it a human or a meta. So kids, be very afraid of bald billionaires. All they think about is themselves. The Faceless Nazi. Now kids, there are no good quotes in this world about Nazis. They were evil and a shame on the name of the human race. Now on our list we feature Johann Schmidt, the Old Man Red Skull of Earth, 807128. In the Marvel Comics series Earth X, Red Skull had put together a group of neo-Nazis who captured Captain America and unleashed an attack on the superheroes. They handed him over to Red Skull and he kept torturing Captain America. The super soldier serum's inventor, Dr. Abraham Erskine, was actually a Nazi agent, and Steve Rogers was just a test subject. Red Skull claimed that Steve was chosen because he embodied the blonde hair and blue eyes of the Aryan ideal. Captain America escaped luckily, but most of the other superheroes were killed. When the villains divided the country, Skull declared himself the President of America and redecorated the White House in his image. He perverted the image of Captain America by wearing his blood-stained costume. He and his group of neo-Nazis started worshipping Captain America as the one true son of Hitler. They killed every friend and family of Captain America systematically as they believed them to be unworthy. He started keeping trophies from the fallen heroes in his room. He eventually faced off against Logan, who was considered to be dead and brought to him. But Logan healed and resurrected. Skull taunted Logan and called him a coward. He got his ebony blade and charged at Logan. But Logan got hold of Captain America's shield and decapitated Red Skull, killing him. This was by far the most brutal and sadistic version of Red Skull ever depicted in Marvel Comics. Even after killing the heroes, he took his perversion to an entirely different level. He was a blemish in the history of the human race, and his existence a bane to all humanity.
You should have gone for the head.
The Mad Titan. One grows kinder with age and gains simple happiness through the act of giving. But what if it's the act of taking? And what if the actual act is of taking the very lives of every living being that lies in his wake? Yes, kids, the next old villain we have on our list is the Mad Titan Thanos, one who's obsessed with death and is determined to kill every living being across the universe in order to please death, feminine embodiment of the actual death in the Marvel universe. In another Marvel Comics reality, the Earth's heroes become old and frail over time, but Thanos only got stronger. His never-ending desire to appease death drove him to slaughter nearly every living creature in the known cosmos and ascend to the throne to rule what was left behind: nothing. In order to be with death, King Thanos knew he had to die too. Such was his obsession that he armed his servant Ryder with the Time Stone and asked him to pluck his younger self from the timeline and bring him to his lair. When the young Thanos appeared in front of old King Thanos with the Annihilation Wave at his back, King Thanos revealed his plan of killing the Fallen One, the Silver Surfer of his reality, and convinced the young Thanos to help him. King Thanos fought the Fallen One with his younger self and killed him. Then King Thanos challenged his younger self to a fight. A gruesome brawl ensued between King Thanos and young Thanos. Ultimately, young Thanos won the battle. When King Thanos begged him to take his life so that he could be with death, young Thanos was so disgusted that he left that timeline, vowing never to become a weakling like King Thanos. This decision expunged the entire reality of King Thanos, and he never came into being. King Thanos' obsession with death made him one of the sickest villains that have gotten more and more twisted with age. He felt so much compelled that he would even die for Lady Death. Time could not wither away his ego, and he chose only himself from a previous timeline to kill him. Even his younger self was disgusted with his existence. So kids, be wise as you grow up. The God from Hell. Faith is about trusting God when you have unanswered questions. Well, kids, you surely can't trust this God. He's a god from the hellish world of Apocalypse, an evil incarnate, the worst nightmare of the entire DC metaverse. Now on our list, we feature the dark new god from the planet called Apocalypse, Darkseid. Having murdered his brother, he absorbed the power of the Omega Force and turned into an immortal god. He dedicated himself to the mission of finding the anti-life equation, which would expunge free will from the entire universe, and every being everywhere would submit to him. Being immortal, his body doesn't age, but rest assured, kids, he's quite old. In the DC Comics series The Great Darkness Saga, taking place in the 30th century, Darkseid had mastered the Great Darkness and used his powers to mind control the entire population of 3 billion Daxamites. He gave them superpowers and made them attack Earth. While battling the Legionnaires and Supergirl, he had to relinquish his hold over the Daxamites. Realizing he'll not be able to take on so many superpowered Daxamites, he retreated by cursing the Legionnaires with the Curse of Darkness. An older version of Darkseid also appeared in the JLA miniseries Rock of Ages. Darkseid had conquered Earth in the future. He controlled the populace through regular public broadcasts of the anti-life equation. Superman was dead, and an older version of the Justice League led the resistance against Darkseid. An old Batman was revealed to be impersonating Darkseid. Batman and Wonder Woman were killed by Darkseid during the final battle, but not before Diana destroyed his grandmother box. While Green Arrow and the Atom were successful in killing Darkseid, the rest of the squad also destroyed his zombie factory. So kids, pray to God every day, but if that God is an old Darkseid, then you better say your prayer. Marvelous verdict. That's all, my young friends. That concludes our list of villains who have turned more ruthless and conniving with time. If they needed to get something done, they did it themselves. They held on to their villainy up until they turned old, and they did right by the book of baddies. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Like, share, and subscribe for more. So long, kiddos.